Hi everyone, my name is Victor and I am one of the authors of TechNeed. Today we're going to continue with our course and we're going to be looking at creating and managing Ansible variables. So if you're already a programmer, I'm sure you already know what variables are. But for the non-programmers in the house, let's talk about what a variable is. So a variable is like a repository that holds information. They are used to store information and this information can be referenced. So for example, I always tell you that your playbook should always be neat as possible. It is a very smart way to write a playbook so that if you want to troubleshoot, you can always know where the problem is. So let's say you're writing a playbook that is very long and you have a lot of information. So what you can do is to create a variable in another file. So you can create that variable in another file. That variable will hold its own information, and in your playbook you can then reference that variable that is in another file. So creating that variable in another file will not make your own playbook to be as long, as long as from here to the antipodes. So it's just a way of making your playbook neat as much as possible. And apart from making your playbook neat as much as possible too, variables can, like I said, it is like a repository that is used to hold an information. So if you have an information that contains secret things, and you don't just want anybody from anywhere, or say the DevOps engineer, to just see what you've written, or to rather see the important information in your code. So what you can do is to create a variable in another file, and you can even create a vault, all right, to make that variable secured, so that nobody will just see that information. And then in your code, in your main playbook, you can always reference that variable. So you can always create variables for a lot of reasons, depending on why you want to create that variable. But most importantly, you should just know that a variable is used to hold an information that can be referenced. So Ansible variables can be declared in various ways. um you know let's see various ways Ansible variables can be declared. It can be declared in 22 different ways, and if you click here, we're going to see the ways variables can be declared in Ansible. So these are ways variables can be declared. It can be declared in 22 different ways, and they follow each other in precedence. So this is the order of precedence, which means that if a variable is declared this way, in number one way, the number 20 takes the higher precedence over number 1. Number 21 takes higher precedence over number 20. Number 14 takes higher precedence over number 13. So there are different ways variables can be declared. And in this course, we're going to look at some of the ways we're going to declare variables in some of these ways. We're going to declare variables inside of a playbook itself. We're also going to declare variables outside of the playbook. We're also going to look at how to pass variables in Ansible. And you should also know that there are examples of how you can write variables. So these are examples of a valid variable. A variable must start with a letter only and must include two curly brackets at the beginning and at the end. So we're saying that this is an example of a valid variable. All right. This is also an example of a valid variable. This is an example of invalid variables because this is starting with a number. A variable must start with a letter. All right. And if you're using any special character in Ansible variable, that special character must only be an underscore. So this is an example of a valid variable. Here you can see that we're having dot here and we're having space here. So this is an example of an invalid variable. And we're also having dash here. This is an example of an invalid variable. And if a variable is a key value pair, it must be encapsulated. So this is also an example of a valid variable. So in the next class, we're going to look at the step-by-step guide of how to use Ansible variables with example. Like I've always said, I'll be dropping the link to this website, to this particular lesson, in the description section below so that you can navigate through. So please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to comment. This is how you can help us to do more. Thank you once more, and bye for now.